My name is Eddie, and me and my group here are going to talk about animal testing. So, whether it's the shampoo in your bathroom, the makeup in your compacts, or even the vaccine that comes so readily available nowadays, animals are sure to have played a part in testing these products out. We all know about the stereotypical white lab rats in cages set up, but in truth, a variety of animals are bred and captured for the sole purpose of being subjects of experiments. Lab rats are bred white, so you can see their veins more easily. Chimps are experimented on psychologically because of their similarities to the human mind. And rabbits get dolled up with prototype lipsticks and makeups and anything else cosmetic wise. This subject houses a wide variety of applications and consequences in modern science. Multiple activist groups have tried to get more humane methods in and even outright ban the practice. Scientists have tried to comply by implementing a decent amount of safety procedures like stress free lab sites and increased experimentation on single animals to avoid capturing or breeding more. There are others who even advocate for the practice due to the extreme progress aided by animal testing. Even now, the future could benefit from animal testing. Japan has recently sanctioned the funding of animal human hybrids for labs. The goal is, of course, to make animals with human organs so that organ transplants are more easily accessible to those who need them. There's lots of things to take into consideration with this topic.
Animal testing is any procedure that is performed on living animals to research diseases, medicine, and the safety of industrial products. These experiments use animals to control the variables that affect the behavior or biological system under study. Common procedures in animal testing include chemical exposure and toxicity testing, which can include oral force feeding, forced inhalation, skin or injection into the abdomen and muscle, and etc. Exposure to drugs, chemicals, or infectious diseases at levels that can cause illness, pain, or death. Ear notching and tail clipping for identification. Prolonged as well as short periods of physical restraint for observation or examination. Food and water deprivation. Surgical procedures. Infliction of wounds, burns, and other injuries to study healing, and other manipulations to create animal models of human diseases ranging from cancer to stroke to depression. Biotechnology can help stop the use of animal testing and help reduce our dependence on animal testing procedures. Tissue bioprinting can be used to replicate human tissue and provide more information to help develop the effects of a drug on humans. This technology could also help personalize medicine to better adapt to a specific patient. This treatment and new process of testing could make it cheaper and quicker to treat disease.
Greetings, I'm Jacob Rivera. And why is animal testing a topic of interest? Well, history of animal testing dates back to the writings of ancient Greeks in the 4th and 3rd centuries BCE with Aristotle and Erasistratus. Since 1983, the United States Department of Defense, DoD, has conducted, quote, wound labs, live tissue training, end quote, during which conscious or semi-conscious dogs and other animals were suspended from slings and shot with high-powered weapons to injure the animal for medical training purposes that would better assist trauma patients and combat medics, plus their procedures. Prior to 2011, the Army would poison monkeys in chemical attack training exercises, and Canadian military officials conducted similar drills with live pigs as a means of, quote, show and tell, end quote, demonstrate the effects of a nerve agent attack. To help with medical training concerning infants, children, and adolescents, prior to 2016, a Naval Medical Center in San Diego and the Naval Medical Center, Portsmouth, and Madigan Healthcare System would force hard plastic tubes down cats' and ferrets' windpipes during pediatric intubation training.
This is a highly controversial topic due to the harm done that can be done to animals during their testing, such as being injected with chemicals in their eyes and nostrils, being deafened, blinded, burned, and infected with these deadly diseases, and being taken away from their mothers at a young age. The positives are that animals are very similar to humans biologically. The animals have the same health problems that some humans have. And animals have shorter life cycles, so they can be studied throughout their lifespan and through several generations. Due to these similarities, it is very hard to find a substitute for something like animals and testing.
I'm Elizabeth Osorio, and I'll be talking about the environmental impact of animal testing. There lies a domino effect when it comes to the sole topic of animal testing. It's broken down into 3 subcategories of sources of pollution, where we realize that laboratory supplies constitute for a high percentage of the initial steps of pollution. As we realize that through each experiment, more and more waste is being produced, sometimes it isn't being disposed of properly, and evidently bits and pieces of it show up in different biomes and greatly infect those ecosystems. We also notice that there's an impact on laboratory workers through this rigorous testing. Over time, they'll develop a high exposure of these hazardous chemicals and developed future diseases at hand. And lastly, we also have biodiversity and overall public health, where we realize the taking of one species can completely destroy an ecosystem, as well as shifting a whole food chain, and the effect that carries is also towards the public health, where we realize that sometimes the air, everything we'll eat, will be affected by all this hazardous waste being put out into our water and air.